go into it.
Hey,
let me talk to you. How fucking good right now does it feel to be a fan of professional wrestling with what has happened this week in all things wrestling? Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good night, konnichiwa, wherever you may be. Hola. In this world, whether on live or on demand, well, it's going to be on demand, but I am the simple man of ATW, and my name is Noah Foster, and welcome once again to another simple ATW Spotlight, the forum that talks about things we enjoy, things we have seen, things we cannot believe, and things we think are to come to indeed, in all things wrestling. This and more will be discussed tonight, but first, allow me to introduce you to this panel of the ATW crew. I have with me, of course, the super elite King A-Train, and I say the preacher man, Casey Flynn. Gentlemen, talk about a wild past week of professional wrestling. Where do we begin? I mean, we've had a testimony of somebody who was once blind, but now he can see. Indeed, the cult of personality. We've had two bangers of Match of the Year candidates through Impact Wrestling's emergence from the X Division title. And last night, NXT UK, my God. And of course, we had so much more. So let's talk a bit about all things wrestling. And King, I'll start with you. First off, we just got done with AEW Dark Elevation. I know Ty Conti's still on your mind, but we've also had a lot of other fun stuff too. How are you? And what's been your biggest takeaway this past week in all things wrestling?
If I'm going to be brutally honest, I'm still trying to get over of what I cannot believe I saw on Friday night. I know you guys can't either, because to me, I feel like it's still a dream. That dream being that 7 years he was gone from the pro wrestling business, because he said it in his testimony speech in that promo, that heartfelt, passionate promo that he cut in front of a sold-out crowd, in front of 15,316 people in the United Center in Chicago. He said, August 13th, 2005, I left professional wrestling, meaning he left Ring of Honor to go to Sports Entertainment. In WWE, back then it was ECW, but ECW had its ups and downs in 05 and 06 throughout, so forth. And then he said, August 20th, 2021, I'm back. I'm home, which he rightfully deserves, because we have missed CM Punk in the land of professional wrestling. That man on that microphone, when it comes to this era of talent, oh my God, you can't even put in words how much that he still got it on the microphone. As soon as he sat down in that Indian pose that he did in the pipe bomb in 2011 on top of the ramp on Monday Night Raw, and even got a big pop because of that. That's how you know you are a legend in this era, and one of the best to ever do it in professional wrestling, knowing that you have been missed. And yet, and for once, and I keep seeing this on Twitter throughout the whole entire week, the weekend, stop making fun of that dude that was crying on Friday night. Stop making fun of him, because all of us as a whole have probably cried during that moment, just like Punk did, because Punk had tears in his eyes as well, because he couldn't believe that the many people probably in Chicago, and probably millions watching at home like we did on Friday night, probably had tears in our eyes, or we was probably marking the F out like crazy. Either one of those two that had happened, because CM Punk, and I was still what Casey used to say, when you get down to it, Punk is basically a staple in this era of modern wrestling. He is a staple. And when you know he still has that fan base in him, that basically said, okay, I stopped watching wrestling because CM Punk left. That's how you know CM Punk has made a mark in your life. And then you hear the news of basically, oh my God, CM Punk is back in wrestling. He signed with AEW. I'm going to watch this. I'm going to watch AEW for the very first time. That's how you know CM Punk has that fan base. that basically says wherever he goes, I follow. But with people saying, oh, Punk's not a game changer. Punk's not a needle mover. Brian Alvarez and the rest of and WrestleNomics have came out with the report of what happened on Friday night with the ratings. And during the debut episode, they drew a 740,000 viewership. And then their second episode, they drew, get this, folks, 1.129 million in viewership. And then yet on top of that, if you was to go on YouTube right now, CM Punk's, like, his entrance is at 5 million views and his promos have 4.5. And he was trending all weekend on Twitter. If that don't tell you that Punk is not a game changer and not a needle mover, you need to wake up. You need to wake up, because what AEW is about to do is about to set the wrestling world on fire if they haven't already, which they've already had with this Forbidden Door and people coming in through Impact, NWA, and who else? And New Japan.
Very well said.
Right.
Very well.
That's right.
What basically, in conclusion of my take on this of Friday night, don't sleep. I've always said this to people: do not sleep on AEW. Don't sleep on them. Do not. Tony Khan knows what he's doing.
Exactly right. He does.
If I were to start a promotion and if I were to have a booker or creative, I will hire Tony Khan, because Tony Khan knows what's right for professional wrestling. He knows what's right for us professional wrestling fans, and he knows how to give it to us in the best way possible.
I don't think anything else needs to be said regarding Friday night except CM Punk. Welcome back to professional wrestling in what is forever going to be probably the greatest wrestling pop of all time. Man. That being said, Casey, he talked about Friday night, but let's talk about other things going on in wrestling. I propose this to you. Last night, we saw probably the last NXT takeover as we know it. Truth be told, the main roster, it deflated us as professional wrestling fans with the way they treated these incredible pro wrestlers on the main roster in and out of the live television. A couple of matches, though, definitely exceeded, I felt like, expectations set by us lapsed NXT fans because of Vince's bullshit. One in particular, I know you're going to talk about heavily. That being said, I want to get your thoughts on what impacts you the most this past week in all things wrestling besides Friday night.
All right. I mean, Friday night, with CM Punk returning to AEW, it is good for the wrestling world, because the man's been gone for 7 years. And like King said, do not count out AEW and Tony Khan, because Tony Khan is a master genius when you get down to it. And
no argument.
You get that, and Sunday night, what we seen with NXT TakeOver 36, we seen a lot good matches on that card, and it was truly the end of a Triple H era. Even though when I was watching the Raquel and the Dakota Kai match,
I knew he was going to talk about
disappointed that
here we go.
Dakota Kai lost and all, but you know what? I'm still proud of her. No matter what, she hanged in there and put up a great fight, and she has a heart of a champion and has warrior spirit, and she has iron guts. She hung right in there, Raquel Gonzalez. And Dakota Kai, she always gives it 100%, and she's very capable of putting on instant classic matches. And I have nothing but that absolute utmost respect for her. But the show stealer of that night, last night, Walter versus Ila Dragunov for the NXT UK title. I
Oh my
absolutely
God.
loved the
Woo-wee.
back and forth action between those guys because Ela Dragunov's chest, he is one tough son of a bitch taking all those chops by Walter. I mean, his
God.
chest looked like it was sunburnt lobster beat red. And Walter and Ela Dragunov, I mean, that match right there stole the show last night. And that should outright get match of the year. And Walter and Ela Dragunov have iron, you know what, to go back and forth. I mean, those two men told a great story in that match. And Ela Dragunov, that guy right there is a warrior with how he took those chops from Walter. Now that I'm going to get to the Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly match.
Baby.
Now the Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly match. Now, what I believe is that was the last time that I and all of us have seen Adam Cole in the WWE ring, because Adam Cole definitely wanted to put over Kyle O'Reilly in that match on his way out. And where do I see Adam Cole going next? I see him heading straight to AEW, because with the Young Bucks teasing about the ghost, I think we ain't going to see Adam Cole on Dynamite anytime soon, because I say after All Out concludes, that is when you're going to see Adam Cole in AEW. In the main event.
So you're predicting
Go
Wednesday,
ahead.
September 8th, when Noah gets to be there in Cincinnati, you think Adam Cole going to show up from the fallout of All Out on Dynamite?
I really do. I think Adam Cole is going to show up after All Out, because it would be a bad time to debut Adam Cole in AEW right now when it's All Out building up. I mean, that's how. I mean, you don't want a talented wrestler like Adam Cole getting lost in the shuffle like that. I mean, save him to after All Out, to where his first match in AEW will be whoever it is. I mean, no matter what. The main event, the Karrion Kross and Samoa Joe for the NXT title last night. Karrion Kross, I definitely heard from the crowd, we want Scarlet chants erupting. But Karrion Kross, right? I mean, he's got a banger entrance theme, no doubt about it. But it is not the same when he walks by himself. I don't care how much lights or how much smoke you put in there. That is not going to change a thing.
No.
The solution to that problem is Scarlet, because Scarlet absolutely makes the entrance right there. She makes Karrion Kross what he really is. And Karrion Kross, no disrespect to him, but he is going to get lost on Monday Night Raw like crazy. He is going to, I mean, if that's a bigger demotion than anything, that is it right there, because Karrion Kross, he ain't going to know he ain't going to know where the hell he's at in the shuffle on Monday Night Raw. I mean, I don't care how much good matches he puts up. He is not going to make it on Monday Night Raw under Vince McMahon's regime, because Vince McMahon has favorites when you get down to it. And On Monday Night Raw, you don't see anything of professional wrestling. The art of professional wrestling is not there. It's like right there in the shitter. It is in the shitter. Professional wrestling on Raw is in the sewer and all that stuff. Where we saw professional wrestling was NXT last night, because it was mixed in with NXT right there. And NXT, that atmosphere is not going to be the same since Triple H has no control over that anymore, because the atmosphere is going to be long dead, because NXT is going to be reduced to Raw and SmackDown. And NXT was the life saver. It kept WWE afloat. I'm not saying WWE is in trouble financially. They're good financially. The only thing you need to fix is the scripts, and quit making it overly scripted. Let the wrestlers be themselves and let them cut their own promos, but stay within the script, but not overly script the thing, because that takes away their element. I mean, Rhea Ripley, when you get down to it, she was great in NXT. They reduced Rhea Ripley, absolute nothing like an NXT bust on Monday Night Raw, because Ripley, I like her and all, but if it wasn't overly scripted, Rhea Ripley would be great on the mic. I mean, the overly scripted promos is what is killing Rhea Ripley and all the other wrestlers, because wrestlers in WWE don't do so great with overly scripted promos, because it's hard on them. And if you make it less scripted, they could do great on the mic and be in a comfort zone on the mic. And you don't see overly scripted shit with AEW, because AEW, you get to say literally any damn thing you want, but stay within the lines of wrestling. And there's much more creative freedom with AEW than there is with WWE. And that's all I got to say about that.
My brother testified. Like I said, for his first-time listeners, he is the preacher man. It's as simple as that. But yeah, let's go ahead, and I agree with both of you gentlemen on all points. It certainly has been a wild week, to say the least, on all things wrestling. Speaking of which, we started last week, Friday night. Things really picked up with Emergence. Incredible match of the year candidate, as honestly one of the best wrestlers of the year. It's gotta be Josh Alexander, but Jake something proved, no pun intended, something when he took Josh Alexander to the absolute limit in an absolute incredible physical war. Why Josh Alexander is still the X Division champion. We gotta wonder if he's gonna cash in option C, or who will step up to him next. We do know who's next to challenge him, though, after the four-way dance, because Ace Austin took advantage of an opportunity set up by Sami Callihan to pin Moose. He will now challenge Josh Alexander, I imagine, at the next Impact Plus monthly special. As we move on from there, you guys suddenly alluded to it at the first dance. History was made and professional wrestling was reignited in a lapsed community when a man gave his testimony why he came back, why he got sick of it in the first place and lost himself. Truly where you would think he may have never recovered, but yet he did. CM Punk is back in professional wrestling. He is all elite, and we officially know who he's going to face first. It is Darby Allin. And while he wasn't able to tell us everything, he will, of course, speak to us more this Wednesday upcoming on AEW Dynamite. As you alluded to, NXT TakeOver 36 felt like a love note to how he really felt about the NXT era ran by Triple H. While it's been lapsed, per se, with the dumb shenanigans pushed by this network showcasing on the USA Network and bringing talent in between the brands too, not to mention randomly just moving talent out of nowhere. to Raw or SmackDown to be in dark matches or squashes, I gotta say NXT 36 was a love note towards why we loved this brand in the first place. And while it's not going to change overnight into the inevitable, we can say thank you and pray the best for all involved. That being said, Walter Ela Dragunov, my play-by-play cannot do it justice, folks. You need to go watch this match if you're a fucking professional wrestling fan. And that's all I gotta say about it. I've watched it 3 times now. The brutality, the violence, the emotion, the story.
Yes.
Absolute
That's right.
feeling of accomplishment, overcoming not only a demon in your own mind and heart, but something you felt truly was impossible, yet you told yourself it was not. And you took everything and more, and you brought it, and you did it. As Ela Dragunov finally dropped Darlene General, 880 days, the longest reigning champion of the modern era under this big W company in all of its brands, where NXT UK is the only professional wrestling brand. I stand by that. Congratulations, Ela Dragunov, and Walter, thank you. I have no idea what's next for Darlene General, but something tells me NXT UK, as long as he stays on there, will always remain sacred. That being said, we got a loaded AEW Dynamite ahead of us, but before we get into that, let's go ahead and talk about last week's Dynamite, because I don't know about y'all, but that felt like a pay-per-view level show too. Not to mention another one-of-a-kind moment where 6,000, 8,000, whatever the hell you want to count, 1,000 fans in Houston came together to sing, once they got together, Judas, and accompanied Jericho to the ring. It was something you really have not felt in a long time, where the professional wrestling world was unified in support and interest of this match and of Jericho, one of the greatest of all time. Along with that, of course, we had him face MJF in the final labor, when unfortunately gold turned to ash as he forced to tap out to the salt of the earth. But my God, what a saga. And again, MJF, he backs up what he says. He's better than you, and you know it. We also had another banger with the Sammy Guevara and Shawn Spears feud, where both men elevated their game to a whole nother level in an instant classic Avalanche C4 kick out, 630 splash kick out, and it took a friggin' GTH in the very end to finally put down the chairman. One thing's for sure, Shawn Spears, he is a damn good, dedicated professional wrestler, and he is truly something special to see in singles. That was a phenomenal match. By the way, totally, you better watch your ass with Aubrey Edwards. That's all I gotta say about that. Of course, we had so much more. Penelope Ford, Thunder Rosa, in her new makeshift land of Texas, being her home turf, had a great singles match, about 8 minutes. Unfortunately, Penelope Ford had to do it in street clothes. Kudos to her and what she was able to bring in that attire. We also, of course, had an AEW World Tag Team Championship match with Jurassic Express and the Young Bucks. And they came this close, King. I know you were sweating. But the Young Bucks did successfully retain. But we know it's ahead for them, too, as we head towards All Out, a tag team eliminator, where one team out of 4, well, we're down to 3 at this point, will face your Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championships at All Out in a steel cage. This and so much more happened last week on AEW Dynamite, on another tremendous show. Impact Wrestling, of course, it retired an era and respected a name, as Christian retired the TNA World Heavyweight Championship to strictly now put the focus on Impact Wrestling going forward towards the future. And he and Brian Myers, I gotta admit, Brian Myers, that was one of his better matches in his Impact Wrestling career. I was fairly impressed. What also impressed me was Melina's in-ring debut, as she came forward to Impact Wrestling too, and with an amazing submission, got the win over returning Brandy Lauren. Congratulations, welcome back to Impact Wrestling. This and so much more occurred on Impact Wrestling as well. As New Japan Strong continues its resurgence of the New Japan of America brand, Matthew Raywall, Matt Morris, the Drama King, whatever you want to call him, he made his in-ring debut in a successful victory too. And Daniel Garcia has made his way now to New Japan Strong and basically teamed up against, I would like to call them, the LA Dojo Truists, Clark Connors, Carl Fredericks, and TJP in a great trios match, where, of course, the LA Dojo trio won. By the way, shout out to Daniel Garcia and the match with John Moxley this past Friday on Rampage. That was a very good match. The only thing I gotta say about this past Friday's Rampage, Jade Cargill, Kiera Hogan, they got the shaft. I really was hoping for more. I think those two give us a banger, and I still feel like Jade Cargill is untested. And that's my little summary of all things wrestling. But because I will acknowledge it, because I'm sure we want to talk about it, we also had SummerSlam, and at least a couple of things worthwhile happened. One, Becky is back, but do not turn her into Becky Lesnar, as Bianca got squashed in what you told me was 27 seconds. Edge finally overcame his freaking demon in Seth freaking Rollins, and I gotta say it, that was probably match of the night, as both resorted to literally a pedigree, and even Edge at one point used the Grand Slam. It was ruthless aggression, though, literally pounding Seth's head into the mat, where he finally made the Messiah tap out in a banger of a match. I must say, I was truly impressed. And I will definitely give the Tribal Chief his due, because let's be honest, it's the only thing the main roster has going for it too, and that's part of the flaw as well. But I will give the selling for Roman on the near falls to Cena's offense, including the Avalanche AA and multiple roll-up maneuvers. It looked like John Cena was going to win, but he didn't. He ultimately fell to the Tribal Chief's spear, and the Tribal Chief got the 1, 2, 3. And as we wonder what was next for Roman Reigns, we have not seen this done since 2003, if I remember correctly. But apparently Brock Lesnar is back as a babyface. I have no idea what the hell's ahead. It seems like WWE is desperate right now to keep things going with the Tribal Chief. And the biggest thing I gotta wonder here is, where does Paul Heyman stand? This is probably the only thing right now that truly intrigues me about the WWE, as Raw still is crap to me. But I will acknowledge SmackDown because I want to see what's next for the Tribal Chief. And congratulations to the new United States Champion, Raw Tag Team Champions, the Usos retained as well. Why they had Nakamura and Boogs as an impromptu music segment, I have no idea. And sports entertainment is not pro wrestling. It's the alternative. Get your shit together. Miz and Morrison sucks. That being said, that's all I got to say about that. That's my little tangent rant. And again, NXT 36 delivered. I really enjoyed the show. Congrats to Samoa Joe on becoming the new champ. First ever 3-time NXT champion. And Kyle O'Reilly finally overcame Adam Cole, baby. And we'll see what's next for, in my opinion, the greatest NXT superstar of all time. Now, before we get into this Wednesday's Dynamite, which is definitely going to be our highlight of the week, I also want to bring acknowledgement to the NWA, who this weekend have NWA 73, where the Nature Boy returns home, and an all-women's special. I'm not going to call it an all-women's pay-per-view. I'm not going to call it a freaking must-see, one-of-a-kind deal. I'm not going to hype it up to be something higher on a monarchy, because honestly, like CM Punk, you don't need to. This is something special to bring a light to women's professional wrestling, and that alone should be enough for people to tune into this one-of-a-kind showcase where we're going to get women tag team champions, 2 women time match classics where worlds collide, as the knockouts and the NWA Women's World title will be on the line, and a 10-woman invitational where the winner will face the NWA Women's World Champion the following day in NWA 73, and multiple appearances as well, including Diamante, which I absolutely love. Now, before we get into AEW Dynamite this Wednesday to conclude our spotlight, is there anything else on y'all guys' mind that I might have missed or sparked your interest? King, I will start with you.
All right. So we were talking about the whole Becky and the whole Brock situation, correct?
That is correct.
Well, Dave Meltzer, according to last night, right during TakeOver, or no, after TakeOver went off the air, Vince decided to pull a little fast, sneaky one on Becky. What I'm about to tell y'all is basically, it didn't work the first time. What makes you think it's going to work the second time? As Vince McMahon has decided to turn Becky Lynch heel once again on the SmackDown brand. Now, remember what happened? The SummerSlam in that triple threat between Carmella, Becky, and Charlotte. Charlotte won, and then Becky gave her a hug, and then Becky clocked Charlotte in the face. And then that was supposed to be Vince saying, okay, Becky's a heel. Okay, excuse me, Vince. That backfired because everybody else cheered for Becky that night. Everybody, but that was very much a mega baby face for Becky right there in that moment.
Yep.
And now, what makes you think that's going to work the second time? Because if it didn't work the first time, what makes you think it's going to work the second time? Because Becky is still over. No matter how many you look at the result of that 27-second match, Becky is still over with some of these fans. She's still over. So it's not going to work. Which questions my mind, which it doesn't really surprise me because the old man is desperate, which brings me to my second bad news. Actually, not really bad news. It's more of a desperate type of move of Vince.
Sounds like a Hail Mary. Sounds like a Hail Mary to me.
So also what Dave Meltzer said, or Mike Johnson, Dave Meltzer said on the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Brock was not supposed to come back Saturday night. He was not. He was initially supposed to come back in 2023, 2024 for WrestleMania 39 or WrestleMania 40 to have his match with Roman. And Andrew Zarian of Matman Podcast said this was the answer to the return of CM Punk to pro wrestling on AEW Rampage. This was the answer according to Vince. This was the counterproductive to CM Punk was to bring in Brock this early. Remember what I said just now. Brock was not supposed to come back until 2023 or 2024 to set up a feud with Roman after Roman gets done with Rock. So with that being said, this was Vince being desperate to call in Brock to say, you know what, how can we do this? How can we do this to counterproduct what AEW did with CM Punk? They got CM Punk. Oh, let's call in Brock. We got Dwayne already scheduled in November for Survivor Series in Brooklyn in November. So we can't get him on board to November. So we're going to call in Brock. You supposed to come back in 2023, 2024? Guess what? Change of plans. We're going to bring you in early to set up this match with Roman, which Vince is desperate. Vince is scared. Vince is clueless.
That's right.
He does not know what to do. Punk has shook the man's confidence. It only took one person to shake this man's confidence, and that's what CM Punk is now doing with Vince McMahon now being desperate of calling in Brock on Saturday night.
Wow. All right, then. And by the way, what a hell of a look for Brock Lesnar. The ponytail. You know what's funny? According to what I heard, and side note, folks, I do not have notifications on my phone, nor do I randomly scroll, nor do I follow dirt sheets or buy into rumors, hype, and all this innuendo of ratings, crap, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Keep that to yourselves. King, thank you for that information. And the only thing I really follow is PW Insider at times and the Wrestling Observer and No DQ Sport No DQ. That being said, Brock Lesnar, welcome back. And according to what I heard, apparently Brock Lesnar fought John Cena afterwards and got a babyface type reaction to that too. So it just goes to show, when in doubt, put the money out. We'll see how this plays out on how often Brock Lesnar shows up too. But interesting thoughts. Before we get into AEW Dynamite this Wednesday, Casey, do you have anything further to add regarding anything in all things wrestling, what I disclosed, what King disclosed, or anything on your mind?
When you get down to it, though, here's one thing I got to say.
Go for it.
I did not like how they did Becky Lynch last night by turning her into Becky Lesnar by straight up Bianca Belair.
Lesnar. Poor Bianca, man. That was ouch.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you're good.
When you get down to it, I didn't like how Bianca Belair was treated like that, because when you come to it, Bianca Belair should have at least made Bianca put up a fight with Becky Lynch. I mean, Bianca was ready to go versus Becky Lynch when she showed up. Bianca and Becky could have at least had a match when you come down to it, because if Bianca, that was just wrong, had a straight up treated Bianca out by losing to Becky Lynch within seconds. Bianca Belair is a great wrestler at that. She should not be treated like that. And Becky Lynch shouldn't have agreed to defeat Belair like that. Becky should have came up with an idea where she said to Vince McMahon, Vince, with all due respect, sir, I don't agree with this idea about beating Bianca Belair within seconds that fast. When you come down to it, I'd rather Bianca Belair put up a fight, but if you want her to drop the title, that's fine with me. But Belair should at least put up a fight with Becky Lynch. A hard fought effort, but in the end gets outsmarted by Becky Lynch. That's where the story should have went, instead of Belair losing that fast, because it didn't make both of them look good. It made Belair look bad by losing within seconds, and Becky look bad by beating Bianca that fast. And Roman Reigns in the John Cena match with the main event. John Cena, I mean, he was that close to beating Roman, but I knew Cena was going to fall as another victim to Roman Reigns.
Acknowledge me.
Because when you come down to it, though, after, and yeah, the Brock Lesnar appearance at the last second was desperately a desperate move by Vince McMahon, because CM Punk, like King said, shook Vince's mind and his confidence. And this was Vince McMahon in a meeting with his creative, hearing about CM Punk's return to AEW last night after 7 years. Damn it! Damn it! That son of a bitch, CM Punk, showed up after 7 years on AEW. Where? Bruce, damn it! Where's Brock at? Where's Brock at? We need to call Brock up. Get his ass to SummerSlam. I don't care where he comes from. I don't care if he drives here. I don't care if he flies here. Just get his ass to SummerSlam, damn it.
That's right.
Brock.
Also,
can you get here to SummerSlam?
Before we conclude this ATW Spotlight, before we conclude,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Before we conclude this ATW Spotlight, as Noah will give us, conclusion. One more touch I want to add, and this touch is Becky. Becky Lynch news added on to what I just said about Becky. Becky was not initially supposed to be at SummerSlam. Want to know why? Because they knew about Sasha not being inactive for the past 8 days, but yet they continued to false advertise and false promote and show the video package between Bianca and Sasha, just for Greg Hamilton to come out after the promo package saying Sasha Banks will not be here tonight to compete against Bianca Belair. When Vince and Bruce and Johnny and Nick knew that she's been inactive for the past 8 days, but they still let it happen anyway. Becky was not supposed to be at SummerSlam. Becky was not supposed to win the SmackDown Women's Championship in 27 seconds, but Vince wanted to add shock factor into that match, and that's coming from Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer newsletter as well.
Wow,
Dave Meltzer. Well, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, because Becky would not do that unless there's a bigger plan, I feel like, in mind for her and Bianca, because Becky, I feel like, respects professional wrestling. Keep in mind, Becky wanted to drop the title to Shayna Baszler, sorry, Megan, back at WrestleMania 36. Vince said no. This has to set up a true one-on-one match with Bianca and Becky, an all-out classic to truly see who's the better woman. I felt they just did that because they wanted to give time to something more stupid like that water gun shit. But I digress. That being said,
my God.
I'm sorry. That being said, fat Shane McMahon, Nick Khan trying to freaking ruin NXT and everything we know that was good with WWE as professional wrestling fans, not sports team enthusiasts, whatever. As of course we know, we're going back to in October, and not even Hayon, I call it Hayon, not even Hayon wants to come back and predict this bullshit. So, yeah.
All right. Here's what I got to address real quick.
All right.
Goldberg in the Bobby Lashley match.
Oh, shit.
For the WWE Championship.
Here we go.
All right. What a clusterfuck of a match that was. Bill Goldberg should not be anywhere in a ring his age. He should be retired for his 50s, especially the one spot where Bobby Lashley is on top of the turnbuckle and Goldberg threw him off the turnbuckle. I mean, he could have broken Bobby Lashley's neck. Bobby Lashley could have been seriously injured at that spot because Bill Goldberg cannot even lift up Bobby Lashley. I mean, this was twice now. First, he almost killed The Undertaker. Thank God The Undertaker is retired now. And Bill Goldberg almost killed Bobby Lashley with that slam. Because when you get down to it, this match between Goldberg and Bobby Lashley, it should not happen in Saudi Arabia. It should not happen at all. Bill Goldberg should be staying retired from a wrestling ring in 2021. He's not in his early 30s anymore. This is not 1998 when he won the WCW heavyweight title and held the WCW US title at the same time. This ain't Monday Night Nitro in 98 where he beat Howie Wood, Hulk Hogan for the WCW title. Because Bill Goldberg is not a 30-something-year-old man anymore. He is in his 50s. He should be long retired like any other legend in the professional wrestling business. Goldberg should not be wrestling any of these new talent of today. He could seriously kill one of them. He could seriously injure them by doing one spot wrong. And that's all I got to say about that.
Well said. You know, it's amazing when you got people like Kaiji Moto, like Sting, who was in his first TV match on TNT in 20 plus years and freaking aced the freaking match for Tornado Attack this past Wednesday with Darby Allin and 2.0. 2.0 rules. That was freaking entertaining. What else? Kaiji Muto, of course, who still wrestles, freaking champion professional wrestling. Noah, CM Punk in his 40s, here to work with the young guys. He hasn't done anything different, but he never lost his will to keep his body in shape. And we are in for an instant classic at All Out. But yet you have this old gray biscuit, relic of the past, work hazard, worse than Nia Jax. There, I said it. Literally threatening your WWE champion and the Undertaker's life. Yeah, brilliant, Vince. Such good shit. But well said, Casey. All right. Well, that being said, folks, you now know what we feel about Goldberg. Yeah. Let's go ahead into our final thing of the evening as we look towards Wednesday. And by the way, great AEW Dark Elevation tonight. Dante Martin. Holy hell. Get this guy a match with AJ Styles. Man. That's all I gotta say.
I want to up you. I'll take a match with Ray Phoenix.
Okay, yeah, that's more realistic.
That's
more realistic to happen.
I got another one.
What you got?
I'll take Dante Martin versus Kenny Omega or Andrade. Kenny Omega versus Dante Martin or Kenny Omega versus Andrade.
La Sombra.
But the instant classic that has pay-per-view quality written on it. Dante Martin versus Kenny Omega. Oh my God! Can you imagine if that match took place between the best bout machine versus Dante Martin? That is willing to be an instant classic match of that night.
May I also
both
add
of these guys can go in the ring.
Well, not to mention Dante Martin is only 20 damn years old. Wow. Again, AEW, young, youthful, inspiring, risk-taking, wild, diverse, dynamic roster of greats of the past and future legends to come, in my opinion, with this stacked roster constantly growing and thriving for our love and interest of professional wrestling. And it's not letting up this coming Wednesday, as we got Orange Cassidy taking on Big Money Matt. The Varsity Blondes take on the Lucha Brothers in the Tag Team Eliminator Tournament, where the winner will go on to face Jurassic Express this Friday on Rampage to determine who challenges the Young Bucks at AEW All Out September 5th in the Steel Cage. CM Punk will make his first Dynamite appearance, and who knows what he's got to say after already calling out Darby Allin. Malachi Black takes on Brock Anderson, who looks to defend the honor of his father and the Nightmare family. But I think the House of Black is about to claim another victim. And after 2.5 years being gone, Jamie Hayter is back, now All Elite, taking on Red Velvet. And Dr. Britt Baker, the
Stir it up.
There you go. Will be, of course, in her corner, along with Rebel, not Reba. And I expect this to be a very interesting match and see what this new Jamie Hayter brings, besides a brand new look. This and so much more in the most unpredictable, wild, fantastic, exciting 2 hours professional wrestling television every week, live on TNT, AEW Dynamite. With that being said, gentlemen, what are you most looking forward to? Casey, I'll start with you.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward this Wednesday night is not only what CM Punk has to say when he makes his first Dynamite appearance.
And yes, I ordered the shirt.
There's a couple matches.
I did too.
There's a couple matches that I'm looking forward to. That's the stirred up queen herself, Red Velvet, versus Jamie Hayter in tag team match with the Hollywood Blondes. Varsity Blondes.
Bosh.
Excuse me with the bosh.
What?
Excuse me with the bosh.
I know why he said that. I
Sorry,
understood why he
Varsity
said
Blondes.
that, though.
Varsity
Yeah, we
Blondes.
understand a reference.
I was Varsity Blondes versus I forget 2 point.
Lucha Brothers.
Whoa. Don't disrespect the Lucha Bros like that.
Hey, give them a break. We've been going for a while.
I mean, mine. All right.
That's why I'm trying to keep this under an hour.
Let me say this again. Let me start over.
Recovery.
Varsity Blondes versus the Lucha Brothers.
There you go.
I'm looking forward to the tag match, and Orange Cassidy versus Matt Hardy.
Delete.
But I sense an orange punch coming Matt Hardy's delete way. And Malachi Black versus Brock Anderson, who's accompanied by his father, Arn Anderson. Brock Anderson, here's one thing I got to say about that. Good luck in because Malachi Black is going to kick your head off your shoulders, kid, and he's going to score a goal with your head when he kicks that head off your shoulders.
Just like what Ty Conti
Brock
did.
Anderson. But Malachi Black, I see Malachi Black easily winning the match over Brock Anderson. But I will be very surprised if Brock Anderson puts in a good match with Malachi Black and he takes Malachi to his limits. But I just don't see it happening. Malachi's going to catch him with one of his kicks, and Dynamite. It's going to be a good show on Wednesday night. And I see Darby Allin interrupting CM Punk in Punk's promo. And Darby Allin and Punk are going to come face to face with each other to build their match towards All Out that night.
Well said.
So,
That being said, Brock Anderson going to House of Black, but if Lee Johnson showing anything against Miro, don't count out Brock Anderson. Again, this is an Anderson. He's got a tough will, and he's going to try and drop Malachi on his head. And you got to wonder what is next with Malachi Black when he says, "You're coming after me." It's like challenging God in a sense, it seems. You got to imagine eventually he and Cody are going to go for round 2. He only said he got the job half done. And we also got to consider who will step up to face Malachi Black, because clearly I see him being involved at AEW Out. I'm almost thinking Dustin might. That being said, I'm definitely looking forward to the tag team match. Another great AEW Dark Elevation tonight, where the Varsity Blondes, of course, overcame their tag team opposition. The Best Friends overcame HFO, TH2, along with The Blade, with Blade in the corner. And Matt Hardy sentenced Orange Cassidy to delete Shun. So we'll see if it actually happens this Wednesday. Ty Kanji once again as King. Suddenly I learned I told with an accent. Definitely picked up another great win with her attitude. If y'all haven't figured it out, King is a huge Ty Conti fan. Okay, just saying that. But who's not? Okay, Ty Conti's freaking awesome. And she basically dropped Promise Braxton on her head with the DD tie in a very nice, fun match. Again, Dante Martin and Anthony Bowens, they showed out tonight what they are capable of doing and how they're continuing to expand and grow in their ways. And of course, we had the Lucha Brothers and Death Triangle as a whole, the Bastard Pac, taking on Dark Order, in Evil Uno and Alpine Angels, winning a trios match with El Igolo watching from ringside. Didn't seem really impressed. But as confirmed last week on Dynamite, it is official. The Bastard Pac will take on Andrade El Igolo at All Out. Something tells me things are going to combust before then, though, if any sign tonight showed anything. But I also got to wonder, what is the state of the Dark Order at this point? Without Broly Lee, without Anna Jay, without the Hangman, which it seems like most of them are trying to honor his wish, but still, several of them are fickle. And it was a miscommunication that literally caused Dark Order tonight, and almost a separation occurred tonight, it seems, as Alan 5 left the rest. Evil Uno and Copeland on their own. It almost feels like Dark Order is falling apart from the inside. And this is like the earliest of factions to come into AEW. And it just seems like it's falling apart at the seams. It's a very odd situation, in my opinion, considering the dichotomy in the Freebird style the Dark Order uses in all their matches, 4-man, 2-man, 3-man, singles, you name it. So, and they're so strong as a unit. It's a very weird time, I feel like, in the Dark Order. Maybe Anna Jay, you need to come back and restore some law and order as human resources. You may not be able to wrestle, but I know you will one day, Queen Slayer, but I feel like your family needs you now more than ever. Just saying. And of course, we got to wonder what else might happen, as Miro did call out Eddie Kingston. Will Eddie or Miro follow up with an answer? And what does the future hold for Jon Moxley, since New Japan Pro Wrestling decided that Hiroshi Tanahashi will not be participating in All Out, but will be going back to Japan to take on Kota Ibushi, his first challenger called out for the IWGP US title at MetLife Dome at Wrestle Grand Slam. This and so much more happening in professional wrestling these coming weeks. And of course, this week will be headlined this weekend by the NWA. But overall, I'm just really excited for everything. So with that being said, folks, we'd love to hear your thoughts, what you think about this week in all things wrestling. Will you be looking at these shows this weekend? I order the bundle. I certainly will. What do you hope to see next in all things wrestling? Do you want to hear us talk more about all things wrestling? And shout out to our brother, the Enforcer Lex, who was live in part at United Center with my No DQ brother, Big G, who's getting married in 12 days. Congratulations. Witness history with CM Punk's return. I seriously got to get him on here. We got to talk to him about his live experience, despite how angry King especially might be. And of course, the Good Brothers are going to continue what they're doing in AEW and Impact Wrestling, as they are still the Impact World Tag Team Champions. Hey, I'm not perfect. I accept my faults. And
Sure.
again, there's just so much going on in all things wrestling. There's never been a more unique, brighter time to be or return to be a professional wrestling fan. And not forget about the WWE. But that's all I gotta say about that. So for the preacher, I say for the preacher man Casey Flynn and the King A-Train, hashtag the Super Elite King. I am the Superman Noah Foster. Take care, enjoy life. Tomorrow's never guaranteed. Treasure your families. Just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. And whether it's these two or me alone, stop saying gay alley. Gay alley. And Casey, here come you. All right, yeah, he did it in the chat. Now I'm definitely concluding this thing. This has been, once again, another fun, wild, unscripted, wholesome time discussing all things wrestling with my family, not necessarily in rhyme, as we bid you adieu for this ATW Spotlight. And if you haven't already, go order All Out on BR Live. It is going to be one hell of a show. And support the NWA. And if you haven't already, support NXT UK. And that's all I got to say about that. This is the ATW crew and the ATW Spotlight signing off. Take care. Stop saying yay, Allie.